Life Hacks Beyond Convention with Dee and Sonia.
Yeah, he needs his dog sat. He's got a puppy. So,
Oh,
so he just asked me if I could go round and do a house slash, because I think the air conditioner man's coming, and it's like
okay.
it just all happened at once. So,
What sort of puppy is it?
well, I can't remember what they're called, but they're really big dogs. Like, it's got a black curly coat. They're about the size or a bit bigger than a standard poodle.
Yeah.
So they're
Okay.
really big, like really
Mm.
tall. And yeah, they had two
Mhm.
two dogs. One of them they had to euthanize. I don't know whether it was the end of last year or earlier this year, a while back, a little while
Mm.
ago anyway. And yeah, so now they've got another
Another
one.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yep. So there'll be two of them again.
Yeah.
They're actually nice dogs, but they're big.
Yes.
Like, they
Yeah.
take up a lot of room.
Yes, they do. Yes.
Yeah,
On
so you
beds and
kind of
couches.
yeah. So you actually
Mm.
need a fair bit of floor space, don't you?
Yes,
Especially
you
when you've got
do.
two of them.
Mm. Yeah.
But they're always well-trained dogs. Like,
Mm.
yeah, my friend, he likes a well-trained dog. So
Yeah.
even though they're
Mm.
big, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
Yeah, because they do what they're told. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
As
And
do
also,
mostly.
yeah, and their household's quite peaceful. So I think the dogs know that, and the dogs are like, they take on a certain amount of that. They're not too
Mm.
aggressive, which is
Yeah.
nice.
I think they've clearly bought the right breed too.
Mm.
So yeah, you really need to look into your lifestyle and your family and your yard size and what you'll put up with and what you won't when you go hunting for a particular dog breed, because yeah, like you couldn't have a Marima on a normal block. People try, but they constantly fail because in their brains they need 20 acres at least. So, and then people buy kelpies and yeah, border collies and that. And
Well, that was, see, when we were out on the farm, I had border collies, but
mm,
once we moved into town, I had to rehome my border collie. That was
yeah,
actually hard. I didn't want to, because I
mm,
really was attached to her, but well, I didn't live on a farm anymore.
yeah, it's better for her that she stays on a farm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So she actually got rehomed. Yeah,
Mm. Because we're older when we've acquired another Marima and we already had one and then a half one prior to that, we're well and yeah, we're used to the breed, we know what their needs are. But one of the things we did from the breeder was, if anything happens to us, can she come back here?
yeah.
And so, yeah, we got that agreement before we moved forward.
Well, because that means that well, either they'll keep the dog themselves, but even if they don't, they'll rehome it to the right type of home, because they're
Yes,
invested in the welfare of the dog, aren't they?
that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
And the breeder we got the previous one from, we had to prove that we owned land.
Yeah.
So we
Okay.
had to
Yeah.
submit, yeah,
Photos or?
documentation, because
Oh,
you can
yeah.
go out
So
and take
actual.
photos of any farm, can't you?
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, we had to produce documentation before we
Yeah.
could
So
have
your
her.
actual deeds kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yep. Some people are very strict in who they'll let their dogs go to, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I was even looking, because I'm more of a cat person probably than dog. I like dogs,
Mm.
but I just find cats less work. And,
Yeah.
and I don't know, they're smaller.
Yeah.
So, yeah, when I was looking at some of those recently too, it was interesting, some of the processes that those different breeders wanted you to go through. I was like, yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, for some, not all of them, but some of
Mm.
them, it was just like, all right, fair enough.
Yeah. That's good to hear, though. That means that the breeders we've got that we're keeping, so to speak, in the system are taking more care long term for the product that they produce.
Well, I'm amazed, because a lot of, like, back in the day, because I used to breed cats as well. So I used to breed
Mm.
Burmese cats. And
Ah, yes.
Yeah, so back in the day, often if the breeders had them for show and the cats that they were selling were not show quality, then they'd go desexed.
Mm.
They
Yeah,
didn't sell undesexed cats at
cats.
all, male or
Mm.
female. Whereas
Yeah.
it was really interesting as I was looking through, because if I got another cat at some point, it would be
Mm.
probably be a Burmese.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised at the number of kittens that are not sold desexed.
Well, part of that is because the vets have worked out that it's not good to de-sex dogs and cats too young.
Yeah, though
So
so I suppose it depends what too young is, because I don't know them. Like, I've been out of it for so long, I really haven't kept up with any of that
yeah,
information. But most of the Burmese don't go before 12 weeks anyway.
yeah, no, that's too young to
Oh,
de-sex the
okay.
cat. Yeah, they've shifted it out to probably about a year for both, at least.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, because I know with dogs, if they're desexed really too young, they can, because they take the ovaries, they leave the uterus, but they can get uterine issues later and can shorten their life with a form of cancer. So,
So what about the males?
yeah, I think they even do leave that longer too, but I'm not sure what the background is. We've only ever had female dogs. So, but
Yeah,
yeah, I've
because with the
noticed overall they've shifted it the timing out.
yeah, because with male cats, what we this is only anecdotal.
Mm,
I can only tell you what I experienced and what the cat
mm,
owners I knew, cat breeders experienced.
mm.
But if you didn't desex a male cat before it started spraying,
Oh,
and it
yeah,
didn't matter when you desexed it, it would always spray.
yeah.
But if you
Oh,
actually
yeah.
desexed it prior to its first spraying, often they didn't become sprayers.
Okay, so maybe it may be different for males then. I don't know.
Well, I've got no idea. I
Yeah,
haven't looked into it at all, but it does
yeah.
explain why there's so many more of the animals that are sold not
Mm,
desexed.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. And there's often if you're signing a contract, they often have the must be desexed, etc. with it, but
Oh,
doesn't
yeah,
mean people
they do,
do it.
though. But once you've got
Yeah,
the cat, yeah, or the dog, you own the
mm,
animal. Don't-
yeah,
Doesn't matter what a contract says. Like, they've got to
yeah,
find you and work out what you've done.
yes, yes. And our big challenge here is that there's been cats dumped and then they've bred and yeah, and then we've got people adopting the strays but not getting them desexed. So
Well, if you're going to have your cat outside,
yeah,
I just think responsible cat ownership is that you should be desexing them, and if they're
yes,
undesexed, then you should have them contained in some way.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mm. And that doesn't happen here. So with
yeah,
a
I
lot of
think that's
people.
a lot of places, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because
Mm.
even like our laws are that you have to have your cats in by like they're not allowed outside between sundown and sunup, but
Okay.
so many people don't follow that rule.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
Oh,
Yeah, I
we
don't know what
always
the
have. Even when I've had like some of the cats have been inside only, some of them been inside and outside. I've never had
yeah.
an outside only cat
Yeah.
because I just think, well, I don't know. I just don't consider it responsible pet ownership
Well,
personally.
no, they're going to cats, foxes, and humans hunt for play. So
That's
they
right.
need to be, yeah. So, and they just kill all the tiny wildlife.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
mm, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know what
exactly.
the answer. I mean, personally, I think we should round a lot of the strays up or trap them and dispose of them. And that's harsh, but the trouble is they're not able to be rehabbed. They're going to keep producing, and they often get sick and die horrible deaths. It's safer to sort of nip the system in a bud first, and then
Well,
easier to
and I know
manage
because a
after
lot of
that.
people want to try and rescue them, but the truth is, depending on how long they've been out there in the wild, they just don't become very well domesticated.
No, no. And a lot of those people saying they're rescuing them are simply feeding strays outside and not containing them and not getting vet care. And that's not rescuing, that's just creating a bigger problem.
Yeah, well, it is
Mm.
because it's making them very healthy and able to go and breed more wild cats.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah.
I know.
So
It's a conundrum, isn't it?
yes, it is. Yes, yeah.
Because you don't
So
want to limit what people are allowed to do too much. Like, we don't want to live in a totalitarian world, but at the
yes,
same time, and we don't want to be, and you've got to allow for the different personalities of people and what they want from
to
pets and that. And you've also got to weigh up with the balance the good of the animal. However, I always
yes,
prioritise humans over animals. Not everybody believes in that, but I do.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Mm.
yeah, so there's all these factors, isn't there?
Yes, there is. Yes, yeah. So I mean, I still support rescue agencies and stuff like that in various forms. Yeah, we still need the variety of biological life, and we want to preserve that. But yeah, we've all got to draw lines in the sand at our
I
own
know
place, I guess.
it's a
Yeah.
it's a hard
Mm,
one. The
mm,
cats that we had that were often outside, like they just loved being outside, but
mm,
always because well, and it depends who's in the household and what their philosophy of animal management is. Is it?
mm,
But for a long time, I would just pull my cats in the laundry, so they had
mm.
food, water, cat houses, cat litter,
Yes.
and all of
Yeah.
that overnight.
Yep.
But
Mm.
but over the years, that changed. Like that doesn't. I don't feel a need to lock them up separately
Yeah.
much
Mm. Yeah.
anymore. Um, Part of that was when the kids were younger, and you'd be worried about what the cat, like whether the cat would go and sleep in the cot
Oh, yeah, when they were
baby,
really little.
like that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, that use, especially the Burmese. They just love people.
Yes.
They just want to snuggle up right close to
Yes. Yeah, and there has been, I think, examples of young babies being smothered by a cat.
them.
So, yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
since I guess it's been a really long time since I've had babies.
Around, yeah.
And I remember one of my daughters, oh my God, she's such an animal lover. and and she'd put up the sheets and down the cat would go and it would be snuggling in. See,
Yeah.
I don't mind a cat lying on my bed, but I do not like it inside my sheets. I like my
Had this
sheets to be cat hair free on the
had this
inside.
conversation had this conversation with someone yesterday, and it's the same. Yeah, Tony's got extra blankets on top of his bed so that the
Yep,
little dog gets under there. The big dog doesn't get on beds. Um, and for me, I sort of fold the doona back half over so she gets between the two
yep,
top layers of the doona cover. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, but
yeah.
same thing. Nobody wants dog hair, and if they've been outside, there's the sand grit that comes off their paws and
Oh,
stuff. And it's
exactly.
like, you've got a gritty bed. I don't want that.
Nah, nah, I don't want it on the inside of my sheets. I
Yeah.
love my sheets all clean. And
Yeah. We were allowed to have cats when I was a kid.
you weren't, or you were?
We're allowed to
Were,
have a
yeah.
cat, but we weren't allowed to have a dog, and I just desperately wanted a dog. So
Mm.
yeah, yeah. So
Obviously, mum and dad must have been slightly more dog oriented because we had a dog. In fact,
mm,
we had a couple of dogs. Whereas
yeah.
I don't really remember having a cat until I was quite a lot older. I think any animal can be really helpful for children.
Oh, I
In
think it's a good thing. Yes.
yeah,
Um, the biggest challenge is grown-ups have to be prepared to remain owners when the kids move out of home, because so often the pets get left behind.
they
So
do.
it's that, yeah,
They
yeah,
do.
that negotiation of what do you
Mm.
call it? Succession plan for pets. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
work out
yeah,
your
pet,
succession
yeah, pet
plan.
succession planning. Yeah, part of our legacy management.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true actually.
Mm,
Well, and the other thing is you've got to you've, it can be really hard to try and teach the kids the responsibility that goes with the animal.
mm,
That they really do need to do these things. And I do remember when we got our dog, mum and dad having this conversation with us. Now I'm the eldest, so
mm.
I maybe remember the conversation more than my brother and sister. But yeah, going through like it's got to be fed, it's got to be had water, it's got to go for a walk every day, and we had to pick up poo every day
Yep.
in the yard and all of that. And so this is what it means to have and bath it and brush it.
Hmm.
It was a
Yeah.
short-haired dog, but they still need a bath and a brush every now and
Mm.
then. And yeah, but then you've also got to have the fortitude to go through with it and actually make sure the children are doing
Do
those
it.
things, don't you?
So it's actually more work for the parents,
Huge
even though
amount
the
more
kids
work.
are doing the work. Yeah.
Huge amount
Mm.
more work. And also
Yeah.
having the patience, because if the kids are little, they're not necessarily going to do it right. So you've got to let them do it, but then you've also got to help them to make sure it's right.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Mm.
yeah, very time intensive, but really good for
Mm.
the kids because they get that
Yeah.
bond. They learn the responsibility young.
I think that's it, being responsible for another being of some
Mm,
sort. So, yeah, I
mm,
notice people that never have children aren't able to scan the landscape of a room or a location and see where needs are lacking. Yeah, and I think having pets and having siblings or having your own children makes you keep an eye on what's going on in a room or a park or something and be aware of dangers or needs that aren't being met. And yeah, I've come across a few people that have never had to look after anybody or anything,
yeah,
and yeah, they're just totally they're not remotely aware of what's going on for others,
yeah,
and I find that quite odd.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's it. If you've never had to, if
Mm,
you've ever had
yeah,
to think about anything in your environment outside of your own danger and your own needs, I guess,
yeah,
yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it?
it does. Yes, yeah.
Mm,
So,
mm.
speaking of little animals, one little dog's just come in and plonked on the window. So we've got very wide windowsills because of the straw bale walls, and she curls up in a sunny spot. So
Yeah,
she's come to get her sunny spot for a
sunny
while.
spot. Yeah, we've got
Yeah.
just all cloud and overcast at the moment, and the
Mm,
cat's in front of my cat's in front of the heater, curled up.
smart cat.
Yeah. My cat that's not really mine. That's my daughter's
Yes.
cat.
Well, there
Yeah,
you
so that
go.
was one of
Yes.
yeah. She
Your yeah.
moved out, but then her
Mm.
circumstances changed, so the cat's
Yep. And
removed
the
for the
cat's
moment.
come home to mum.
Yeah, for the moment.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
she'll maybe go back, but we'll see
Mm.
what happens, won't we?
Yeah.